Hey everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys I'm going to be profiling for you my Heraldic Beast deck. Now this is a deck that I profiled on this channel many moons ago in a galaxy far away. But I've always loved this deck because I've always loved kind of rank 4 type of spam decks, and this was one of the first good ones a long time ago. But I had to wait a long time for the OCG support to get here to the TCG, which it just recently did in World Superstars set last month. And so finally I get to play this deck with its full capacity. Now I'm going to mention that there's many ways you can play this deck. I've been extremely playtesting with this deck over the course of the last, I guess you could say, 2 weeks with friends in real life, online on DN if you've been watching my DN duels. I've been testing this deck out extensively. And yes, there's different ways you can play it. You can play it with the Star Seraphs if you want to go for more like things like Ouroboros and Deltaros and things of that nature. Feel free and go ahead and do that if you want to. But I found that I just liked it as a rank 4 spam deck because I just like being able to every single freaking turn for the most part just spam out a rank 4 monster to do my bidding and just abuse it and use some other cards in combination to make the deck just a spam rank 4 deck. Where I found with the Star Seraphs, personally, not trying to make anybody upset, but personally I found that sometimes I was having inconsistencies. I mean, if you want to play the deck a certain way, yeah, it will work, but that's if you want to do that. So that's just my personal opinion. I would say definitely try out playing Star Seraphs in this deck. You may find it to your liking. I know some of my good friends that I've been practicing and talking about this deck with them, they really thoroughly enjoy it. But me personally, I just found through testing that this deck, the way I built it, was more suited to my playing style, I guess you could say, just spamming rank 4s consistently. So first off, we run 3 Heraldic Beast Leo. And Leo is pretty much your searcher for the deck, and he's also one of your beat sticks for the deck. When he's normal summoned, if he's normal summoned, he, at the end of the turn, goes to the graveyard and gets a search off. So pretty much anytime Leo hits the graveyard, either by detaching, being attached to an XYZ, sending him directly to the graveyard through Mathematician, he gets a search off. But you only can use his effect once per turn like that. Also, a little side note is if you reborn Leo with Heraldic Reborn, he actually stays on the field. He doesn't go to the graveyard because he only states that when he's normal summoned, he self-destructs at the end phase. So that's kind of neat. Then we run 3 Amphisbaena. Amphisbaena is one of the new cards to come out of World Superstars set. This card really gave something to the deck was lacking, and that was a special summons. So by sending a Heraldic Beast monster to the graveyard, you can special summon this card. You can send a Leo to the graveyard, get a plus, an Abercrombie, whatever. Because one thing I've learned through playing Heraldic Beast throughout the years is they love going to the graveyard. That's because they get their effects when they go to the graveyard, and you can use the spell cards more effectively. So they love going to the graveyard, and this helps the deck precipitate special summoning so you can do things. Also, I have found personally in a lot of situations that I have been using Amphisbaena's second effect, which states that by discarding a Heraldic Beast monster, he can boost he can get a 800 attack boost, which brings him up to 2,500 attack, and that can really help you get over things in the deck. So Leo and Amphisbaena are your 2 main beaters of the deck. Also keep in mind, Amphisbaena is a wind type attribute because that way you can run like Lightning Chidori in the deck. So next we run 3 Abercrombie. Pretty much Abercrombie is your beat stick of the deck, your just normal 1,800 beat stick on the field. When he's sent to the graveyard though, if you have 2 engraved, you can banish 1 to add a card from your graveyard back to your hand. Usually I'll add back Leo, sometimes Amphisbaena, it just depends on what's going on in the duel. So you can get searching or special summoning going off more effectively. But he's a really nice card. Also because he's a wind attribute, you know, he helps you go into Lightning Chidori again, which is a very powerful card. A very good XYZ. Next we run 2 Unicorn. Now people may be asking me, why the heck do you run Unicorn? I know a lot of people right now have been running Unicorn as a one-of. But personally, my type of playing style with the deck is spam rank 4s, get the Heraldic Beast monsters as quickly as possible to the graveyard to get its engine online, because Heraldic Beast to some extent use the graveyard as their second hand. So if you remember, like Dragon Rulers kind of use the graveyard as their second hand. Not saying that Heraldic Beasts are on the same level as that, but they do use the graveyard to their advantage, and they kind of use it as a second hand to some extent. And Unicorn, though you don't use him for a lot, sometimes you use him for Kage to Kage fodder, but mainly you're sending him to the graveyard so you can bring back number 18 Patriarch, which is the new XYZ that came out in World Superstarters set. This card helps fill up your graveyard that much faster. As long as he hits the graveyard, you get to send up to two Heraldic Beast monsters to the graveyard, I believe. I don't know if it's up to, but you get to send 2. Usually I send 2 is pretty much what I'm trying to say. He's really useful. Plus he's 2,200 defense, but we'll talk more about him later. But he helps make your spell plays, your advanced Heraldry Art, and your Heraldry Reborns more alive to make your power plays in the deck. So he's very useful. And the cool thing is, if you didn't have him as an attachment or already in the graveyard with Unicorn, you can send Unicorn to the graveyard as one of its, sending a Heraldic Beast monster from the deck to the graveyard effect. And then on your turn, you can banish the Unicorn to bring the Heraldic Beast Patriarch back. And Patriarch, I'm just going to say right off the top of my, off the top right now, is he's usually on the field every single turn. I rarely, maybe 75 to 80% of the time, 85% of the time, or 80% of the time, I always have Patriarch on the field. Next we run 2 Heraldic Beast Eagle. I find that this card is the worst Heraldic, well, no, I won't say that. There's some other bad ones that we don't talk about, but I think he's an okay one, he's a decent one. He has some things going for him. First off, he's a win attribute, so he can help you go into Lightning Chidori. Second off, I usually use Eagle as just as fodder for XYZs, for Chidori, or just in general making rank 4s. His effect is kind of nice, which I'll read it off to you, which is a pretty interesting effect. He states you can banish this card from your graveyard, target up to 1 face-up XYZ monster you control with no XYZ materials, and 2 Heraldic Beast monsters in your graveyard. Attach those monsters as XYZ materials. That's pretty much the gist of what he does. So the cool thing is you can use him with a couple of cool cards in the deck, which I really have used his effect fairly often with these 2 cards in general. So sometimes you mainly use him for Castel. So sometimes if Castel lives, I'll just reattach, bounce something back to the deck, spin it back to the deck. Sometimes I'll use it for 101. And a lot of times I'll use it for Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon, which just is ridiculous. Believe me, you attack with that. Oh, reattach. Oh, I'll do it again next turn. But some people like him as a one-of. I would cut him down, but I find that as a one-of, it makes it harder for me to go into Chidori to some extent, because I really like Chidori in the deck. And as a 2-of, it just, I don't know what, it just helps me out a lot more. If you want to cut it down to a 1-of, go right ahead and replace it with something else. Be my guest. But for me personally, I've just found something in it being a 2-of being very helpful. Just something I can't explain really. Next we run 3 Kage to Kage. Like I was saying earlier, if you want to take the Kage to Kage engine out and replace it with the Star Seraph engine, if you want to make the deck go in a little bit of a different direction, go right ahead and go that route. I would say that you should try that out, and also try this type of build out too, and make sure, figure out which one you like a little bit more, and because each one offers its own little thing, I would say. And I would also say on top of that, when Nodin comes out to the TCG, this deck is going to be really, really interesting. So we run the 3 Kage to Kage because this helps you precipitate your, I guess you could say, your rank 4 spam. Also, he's searchable off King of the Feral Imps, so he's pretty decent. Yeah, you can't normal summon him, but rarely have found Kage to Kage to be a dead card in this deck, personally, because of how much rank 4s you can go into turn by turn by turn. Next, I run Tooth Mathematician. I have only met one friend. I'm gonna give him props right now. Oh my gosh, man, I just had a brain fart on your name. Please forgive me, but he will be commenting down in the comment section, and I will give him credit. He is the one that actually gave me the suggestion to run Mathematician in the deck, and I'm so glad I did. It really helps the deck going Mathematician first turn, sending the beast, getting your graveyard, getting your search going, sending Heraldic Beast monsters just to the graveyard, so you can just get the graveyard filled up that much faster. Plus, Mathematician is really nice to have if they decide to attack it and you get a draw off it. That's really awesome. So he's really, really good in the deck as a 2-of. You can run him as a 3-of. If you want to take one of the Eagles out just to make it a little bit faster, but I'll leave that up to you. And then the last monster we want is one Summoner Monk. A lot of people like running Summoner Monk as a 2-of. I honestly was going to just cut him out of the deck completely, because I'm going to admit to you right now, I rarely use Summoner Monk. In about 20 duels, how many times did I use Summoner Monk? 1 time. Yeah, but I find him in late as the duel grind on and I may have a dead spell in hand. Would I use him? Yeah, so he did come in handy, but I didn't like him as a 2-of. At 2-of, I just found him actually being cloggy because, yeah, I get it. You can send one of your Heraldic Beast spells to the graveyard to make a rank 4 play, and that's all fine and dandy at the end of the day, but I'd rather use these, powerful spell cards without, sending it to the graveyard for no good reason but to make a rank 4 play. I'd rather just use them to reborn stuff and just do things, but I like him as a 1-of, and I find that as a 1-of in this type of build, he's very useful. Oh, sorry guys, moving the map. Next up, guys, we have our 3 Heraldic Reborn. Some people like running this as a 2-of. They think it's a bad card, but I'm just going to say this. Any card that's a monster reborn, I'm going to run as a 3-of if I can, even though it's archetype specific. Card really helps precipitate plays, makes Eagle a little bit more live, so you can go into Chidori by turn 1, turn 2. I mean, there's things you can do. So, very good card. Plus you can bring back Leo and just use him as a beat stick. Then we run 3 Advanced Heraldry Art. Amazing card. I know people sometimes thinks this card is just bad because of how much setup it takes, but this deck in particular, once it gets its engine going, this card is live. This card is pretty much a 1-turn Exceed banker. It's pretty much Miracle Fusion for Exceeds. And it's just really useful because you can go into a whole bunch of things. It helps spam the field. Plus it states that you don't have to use it once per turn, which is just stupid. Let me just make sure of that. Yeah, you can use it as many times as you want to per turn. So I've used it many times. Yeah, because it says target 2 Heraldic Beast monsters in the graveyard. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, but you can use this multiple times per turn. It doesn't state you only can use it once per turn. So if you get 2 of these in hand, and if you think through your plays properly and what you're making, you can just make some very powerful fields. So very, very good card. I wouldn't run it less than a 3-of, and if you want to pitch one, just use it as Summoner Monk fodder. But card's always been good. It's my backup plan B, I guess you could say. Then we run 2 Mystical Space Typhoon. Really comes in handy in the deck, just dealing with Fiendish Chains and whatever else is out there in today's game. Then I run 1 excuse me, I gotta pronounce this properly. Augmented Heraldry. Some people like the field spell cards, some people don't. I like it just as a 1-of. It's nice, but it's not super uber amazing like the other spells they have. It's nice because the fact that it can help search the spell cards. That's mainly what I use it for. To help search out the powerful spell cards. That's mainly how I use it. Then I run for my other 1-ofs, 1 Regeki, 1 Foolish, 1 Book of Moon. Regeki clears the board. Foolish can help set up your graveyard for certain plays. Also, you can send Leo to get a search off. And Book of Moon, just a versatile card in general. Then I run one cool little interesting tech that you don't have to run it, but I just find it's really cool to use and nice and useful. And that is 2 Mind Over Matter. So Mind Over Matter is kind of like Solemn Judgment. It states that when a monster is normal summon, special summon, make sure something, yeah. If a card is, negate the activation of a spell or trap card or the normal or special summon of a monster and destroy it. So it's really nice depending upon the situation. Now you may say to yourself, yeah, you have to tribute a psychic monster, but where's your psychic monsters? Usually Patriarch is your psychic target. Now you may say, well, that's only 1 extra deck monster. That's awful. That's awful logic. It's a dead card. Like I said earlier, Patriarch, most of the time, is going to be on the field. It's so easy to bring him back. You make this card live. Send it to the tribute it. Get its effect off. Send 2 Heraldic Beasts to the graveyard. Get your play set up. Set up those powerful spell card plays. Really useful card. As a 3-of, heck no. As a 2-of, I have found very good uses for the card. And the card, I think maybe only twice in like 20 duels was actually a dead card. Then we run 2 Fiendish Chains just to deal with anything out there that may just try to disrupt our plays or boards. I run 2 Mind Crush. You can run 3 Mind Crush. I would suggest maybe running 3 Mind Crush in the graveyard, you know, the other Mind Crush in your extra deck. But you could run, instead of Mind Crush, things like Mirror Force, Deprison, whatever. But I do like the Mind Crush because it can come in handy. Then we run 1 Bottomless, 1 Compulse, 1 Solemn. I didn't decide to run Vanity's Emptiness because you do detach and you do things a lot. So Vanity's can, yeah, it can be good for 1 turn, but yeah, it was kind of sometimes even locking me out of my own plays. So we just run the 3 good staple cards there. Then on to the extra deck, guys. We run the original Heraldic Beast Exceed Monster, number 8. Pretty much, this card's actually really good against certain Exceed monsters. Can be very useful. Uses their effect, make them drop down to 0 for the turn, use their effect to do things. It's really nice as a one-of. Then I run 2 wait, where did I put the other one at? There we go. I run 2 Patriarch. You can run 1 or 2. I find 2 is really useful because sometimes people will compulse, you know, negate it or just do something to it, and I'm happy to have the other one in my deck so I can continue with my day and plays. Pretty much, you never use his first effect when you have 2 monsters on the field, you know, destroy both of them and then yada yada yada. The main reason you use them is because for Solemn, Mind Over Matter, and mainly just to help set up your graveyard plays. Then we run 2 Lightning Chidori. I find myself either going for 1 or 2 Lightning Chidoris per duel most of the time. I know it's an expensive card, it's like a $20 card now, but if you have it, if you can run 2 of it, run 2 of it. You can use just 1, but I personally have found that a lot of times I'm using 2 Lightning Chidori per duel, sometimes. A good amount of the time is what I'm trying to say. Then we run 1 King of the Pharaoh Imps, so you can search out your Kages, 1 Scad Master, Kestel, the Sky Blaster Musketeer. Can't pronounce his name tonight, apparently. 1 101 and 1 Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon. Like I said, these 3 right here are the main things you use for Eagle's effect. And believe me, with XYZ Rebellion Dragon with Eagle's effect, ooh, too good. 1 Cowboy, 1 103 Ragnar Zero, 1 Krogonic Illuminescent Knight. These are just some other good rank 4s you can run. You can pretty much run any rank 4s that you feel are necessary, but those are the ones I'm running. Then I won one number 80 Rhapsody and Berserk, or Tupac, as I like to call him. Then 1 Gagaga Samurai and 1 Evil Swarm Exciton Knight. Pretty much like I said, yeah, I like calling him Tupac for some reason now. But Tupac or Biggie Smalls, whatever you want to call him. But yeah, that is the extra deck, guys. I'm sorry I'm going so fast with the timers running out on my camera. But yes, guys, this deck is really fun to play with. A couple things of note, like I said, try playing the deck to how you want to play it. There's not just one way you can play this deck. Also, try out what, you know, rank 4 Exceed monsters that you want to play in the deck. You know, you may think that, oh, the ratios you need to play around with. Go ahead and do that. You don't have to go off the, you know, the ones I ran in the extra deck here. But the deck's really fun. I think that if this deck came out with all its support a year ago, 2 years ago, this deck would have been a very competitive deck, actually. I think if it came out in a pre-Star Seraph world, I think it would have been a powerful deck in its day. If it got all its support right after, back in the day, when the OCG got it, I think it would have had a chance to be a good Tier 2 deck or competing for Tier 1. But alas, that never happened, and I don't think it got its time in the sun like it deserved. But I think it's a very underrated deck. You can use the side deck so effectively in this deck because you can side in darks, you can side in light, imprisoning mirrors, you can side in certain cards that really hurt your opponent. So it can really use the side deck very efficiently if you know what you're doing. But till next time, guys, take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling. I'll see you guys next time, and I hope you all enjoyed this deck profile. Seto Kaiba, I'm out of you guys till next time. Good luck dueling to all of you, and hope you all enjoy this deck profile, because I know some of you guys out there have been waiting for this deck profile for a long time, and I hope I didn't disappoint you. I just found this build to work for me. It may not work for you, but it worked for me. So that's all I'm going to say. Take care, everybody.